scale of this is enormous. In central Appalachia, that includes West Virginia, Kentucky, and Tennessee, they have destroyed enough property to equal the size of the state of Delaware. So it's a very highly destructive form of practice. And there are environmental reasons, of course, to oppose mountaintop removal, aside from the fact that it poisons water. And cancer rates in towns around mountaintop removal sites double. You also have huge concentrations of brain tumors. You have higher rates of birth defects, and you have increased levels of flooding. Obviously, if you strip away the trees and the topsoil, and you have this rugged terrain, there are floods everywhere. The campus where I teach was flooded out, in fact, just 2 weeks ago. There are environmental reasons. There are cultural reasons for opposing mountaintop removal, because it's destroying mountain culture as it exists in a lot of different ways, by taking away a lot of flora and fauna of the region, things like ginseng that grow naturally in these mountains and that are really abundant, that are completely being wiped out. What's really being wiped out are the streams. Thousands of miles of streams have been destroyed. And the streams that come out of the Appalachian Mountains feed the river systems of the eastern United States. And this is extremely significant. The river systems of the United States the eastern part of the United States comes from these mountains. And water, as the world's population goes from 7 billion by mid-century to 10 billion, water is going to be more valuable than coal in 50 years. But here in the eastern United States, our water supply is being destroyed systematically. And it's happening at a very rapid pace. Here's an example of what it does to the water in a local area. I am not a hydrologist, but I'm under the assumption that that's not good. Brownie would attest to this, because Brownie Carson, who invited me to come up here, joined the march on Blair Mountain that we did last year. And he walked along stretches of the road where you would find water coming down the mountainsides that would be orange or that would be yellow, and you could smell the sulfur coming out of it, and lots of other bad smells too. But it goes in, it finds its way into the drinking water, and it really you cannot drink water that comes out of a tap in southern West Virginia. You can't do it. The water supplies are incredibly damaged. And how did the coal companies respond to that? Well, their law firm, Jackson Kelly, responded to this study by saying that Michael Hendricks' research failed to account for incest in mountain communities. And so, I mean, they're still using the stereotype for that marginalization. The march itself, it was much more than, just simply a protest, but it was also kind of a walking conversation with the community. And every single household was talking about it all throughout the coal field. It was the discussion of pretty much every dinner table. It was the discussion at the water coolers in the offices in Charleston. Everybody was talking about it. The radios were talking about it. And so we're able to have a discussion in public that was not possible before. And that's a step in the right direction.
As you know, many of you know from my career at the Natural Resources Council of Maine, it does my heart good to see a room full of activists, a room full of people who care deeply about human dignity and the fate of this earth. I have never met people who cared more deeply than the people I met on the march for Blair Mountain. They are truly rock solid in their commitment. But as Chuck said, they cannot do it alone. We have some tools here in Maine. We have members of Congress. We have the ability to write letters to the editor, to talk to our members of Congress. We have a Clean Air Act that is under assault in the United States Congress now. We need to persuade our members not to mess with it and to defend it. We have a new set of EPA regulations to much more stringently control carbon dioxide and other greenhouse gas emissions from coal-fired power plants. They are going to be under attack. In fact, they already are. We can write to the EPA and stress to our members of Congress that those new standards are critical.